Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that space is not empty. Imagine that it breathes, slowly, quietly, like something alive. Imagine that every star you've ever seen is only a pinhole in a surface much larger than you could ever touch. And imagine, just for a moment, that this surface might not end at all, that it stretches beyond every thought, every measurement, every horizon, that it may be infinite, and yet, somehow, still have boundaries. This is not contradiction, though it feels like one. It is the kind of puzzle that only the night can hold, a soft impossibility that rests like a whisper in the dark. The universe may be endless in every direction, yet limited in what we can ever see, infinite above us, but finite to our eyes, like standing on a shore with an ocean that never ends, yet seeing only as far as the horizon will allow. Tonight we will drift into this idea, gently, without rushing to answers. We will walk slowly along the fabric of space-time, touch it with thought as if it were silk, and ask what it means for something to be boundless and contained all at once. We will not force understanding. We will let it rise like dawn over a quiet world. The universe, as we know it, has no visible walls, no edge where stars simply stop. When we look outward through telescopes, through time itself, through billions of light years of expansion, we find more and more. Galaxies scattered like cold fire, nebulae blooming like frozen roses, clusters of stars tangled in filaments of gravity. There is no sign of an end, only distance, only light fading softly into deeper night. And yet there is a boundary, a silent one, not built of stone or vacuum or cosmic debris, but of time. Beyond a certain distance, light has not yet had enough years to reach us. The universe may continue without limit, but our sight ends where the first photons fail to arrive, not because nothing exists beyond, but because existence has not yet spoken to us through light. This boundary is not rigid. It grows every second as light travels further, as the universe expands, as time moves forward. Every breath you take, the horizon of what we can see stretches outward. Every second, the observable universe grows, not because space is being added, but because the past is reaching us. Infinity may be real, but forever delayed. If the universe is endless, we are like small birds in a great forest, seeing only trees that stand close enough for sunlight to touch. Beyond them is more, but hidden by distance, by shadow, by time. We do not know where the forest ends, or if it ends at all. And this is where mystery begins, because infinity, if it exists, is not frightening, not cold, not empty. It is possibility. It is space enough for every form of star, for every version of matter, for every shape consciousness could ever take. It means there might be galaxies beyond our reach with laws we have never imagined, elements unspoken, physics rewritten, maybe even minds, blinking in the dark, wondering if something lies beyond what they can see, wondering about us. Two infinities, wondering about each other through silence. Or perhaps the universe is not infinite, but loops in on itself like a sphere with no edge. A surface you can travel across forever without ever falling off, but still finite in its volume. Like breath, like heartbeat, like thought. A closed infinity, endless experience inside a shape. We might be walking through space that curves back into itself, so that beyond every horizon is not emptiness, but return. Distant echoes of our own galaxies, spiraled back through geometry. The universe could be infinite, like circle, not like line. There may be no outside, only inside without end. And as you breathe now, slowly, feel that shape. Feel the soft curve of existence like a hand around your mind. The universe does not need walls to contain us. It does not need edge to be real. It only needs time, distance, expansion, horizon stretching like calm line across cosmic sea. When we ask if the universe is infinite, we are really asking where we belong inside it, whether we are contained by limit or embraced by endlessness, whether there is something beyond reach that waits for us, or whether discovery is journey inward, not outward. Infinity is not size. Infinity is depth. You are part of that depth. We will move further soon into the structure of space, into the possibility of curved infinity, into the ways light carries memory across billions of years. But not yet. For now, breathe softly into the idea that the universe may never end, and that boundaries may be nothing more than where light has not yet touched. Infinity may be around you already, quiet as night, gentle as breath, alive with stars waiting to be seen. If the night were a sheet of velvet stretched across your thoughts, this would be the moment you place your hand against it, not to push through, but to feel its surface. Smooth, endless, deceptively simple. Because infinity, like darkness, hides depth in silence. And to understand whether the universe can be infinite and still bounded, we must first learn to listen to space as if it were breathing in slow tides of light. The first thing to know is this: when we look into the cosmos, we are looking into the past. Every star, every galaxy, every whisper of radiation is a message traveling for billions of years to reach us. We do not see things as they are, we see them as they were. And that alone creates a boundary, even in a world without walls. Picture a lamp in the center of a field. Stand far enough away, and the light no longer reaches you. Does the field end at that point? No, only your vision does. The universe works the same way. Light has traveled 13.8 billion years since the beginning, and beyond that distance. The darkness does not mean emptiness. It means silence not yet broken. More space may exist beyond the reach of the oldest photons, like pages of a book not yet opened. We live inside the chapter we can read, unaware how many may lie ahead. Not because they are forbidden, but because time has not delivered them to us. And yet, something extraordinary happens as we look farther. The farther a galaxy is, the faster it appears to move away, not because it travels, but because space itself stretches. Expansion pulls galaxies apart like ink drawn across water, smoothing and thinning until edges blur. The more space expands, the more distant things slip beyond our view, like ships vanishing into mist. A horizon forms not where space ends, but where light can no longer return. This horizon is not boundary of universe, but boundary of knowing. It grows each second. It recedes forever. And if the universe expands infinitely, there will always be more beyond. Unreachable, unknowable, but there. Now imagine an ant walking on a balloon. It may travel forward forever, never encountering a wall. But it is not moving through infinite flatness. It is circling a finite surface curved beyond its understanding. Infinity can be felt, even inside a shape with limits. The ant's universe is endless in experience, though it loops. No edge, no fall, only motion without ending. What if space is like that balloon, not flat but curved, folding back into itself in a dimension we do not see? You could travel forward for eternity and never find a rim, and yet the cosmos could still be finite in its total volume. Infinity is sensation, finite is structure. Or perhaps space does not loop. Perhaps it stretches outward without end, like ocean without shore. In that case, our observable bubble is simply the part we can see, like lantern glow in night, surrounded by more night. We do not know whether the sea ends because we cannot row far enough to find out. A boundary does not need to confine. It may simply limit awareness. And so the question, does the universe have edges, becomes more delicate. If an astronaut could travel faster than light, perhaps they would see more and more. Forever. No wall. No brink. The cosmos unfolding like endless road, but nothing travels faster than light. That is why the horizon stands. Boundary made of time, not stone. There is poetry in that. Because even if the universe is endless, our understanding moves like light, expanding outward, chasing knowledge, but always arriving after the world has already changed. We observe echoes. We collect ancient photons like fossils. We piece history from radiation older than Earth. In this way, the universe holds its secrets patiently, waiting for us to catch up. Infinity is not unreachable, only delayed. Sometimes the most beautiful truths are the ones we do not finish, that stretch beyond comprehension like coastline fading into fog. We stand at shore of knowing with feet in cosmic tide, feeling waves of starlight wash against us. And somewhere beyond our horizon lies more, always more, like a dream we can sense but not touch. If space is infinite, then so is possibility. So is future. So is mystery. Beyond every horizon lies another, like breathing. The universe expands outward, and knowledge expands with it. No wall to stop us, only distance, only time. And perhaps that is kindness, not limit. Because infinity given all at once would drown us. But infinity given slowly allows wonder to live. Breathe. The universe is large, but your mind is not small. It stretches when you look at stars. It expands when you question limits. You are part of this horizon, expanding with it. Infinity is not something to reach. It is something to feel. There is a softness in the thought that the universe might have no edge, a comfort almost, like knowing that no matter how far we travel, the path continues, unbroken, unending, patient beneath our feet. And yet, the presence of a boundary we cannot touch brings another kind of quiet, the quiet of wonder. Because if the horizon is not the end, but only the limit of what light can carry to us, then every night, sky is a promise of more. In the slow breathing of space, distance is not empty. It is time stretched thin. When we look into darkness, we are not looking into nothing. We are looking into what we cannot yet see. Imagine light as a traveler, walking across the expanding fabric of the cosmos. With every step the traveler takes, the road behind them stretches. The farther they go, the more the path extends. Even after billions of years, there are places they have not yet reached. Not because space resisted, but because time has not allowed it. In this way, the universe may be infinite and our experience finite. This is the essence of a horizon, not a barrier, but a delay. We often ask whether space curves like the surface of a sphere, a shape with no edge yet contained. But to answer that fully, we must step deeper into the nature of geometry itself. Because our minds are built for flatness, for straight lines, for surfaces that end. Our perception is comfortable with beginnings and endings. Infinity, however, has neither, and so it feels like dream, like fog, like something the brain cannot hold without letting fingers slip. But we can feel it, even if we cannot grasp it. The way we feel the possibility of endless ocean when we stand on shore at dusk. The way we feel depth of sky when we cannot count its stars. Infinity is not knowledge, it is sensation. Now breathe slowly, as though you were breathing with the universe itself. Expansion is gentle, not hurried. Galaxies drift apart like petals carried by current. Stars are born, burn, fade, and collapse into silence. Worlds emerge and disappear. Yet the fabric beneath them endures. Whether finite or boundless, space does not rush. It widens like thought. Sometimes I imagine the universe as a room without walls, where no matter where you walk, you never reach an edge because the room grows with you. Not because it needs to, but because you are part of its unfolding. Awareness is expansion, observation is movement. The horizon expands because we exist to see it. If the universe had an edge, what would lie beyond it? Not more space. Edges do not contain space. They define it. Beyond the boundary, there might be nothing at all. Not void, not darkness, not silence. Nothing. Not even the concept of emptiness. A place without place. A state without being. We are not built to imagine nothing. Even the blackest night we picture has space in it. Even silence we imagine as room for sound that is simply absent. True, nothing has no room, no time, no distance. It cannot be stood next to or fallen into. And so, if the universe does have a boundary, we cannot step beyond it. There is no beyond to enter. The mind trembles at this, not from fear, but from realization of scale. Somewhere between infinity and edge lies a truth we do not yet have the language for. Because the universe may be finite, yet unbounded, like surface of three-dimensional sphere, or infinite yet veiled, like ocean too vast for any ship to cross. We are small, but perception makes us wide. Close your eyes for one breath and imagine walking forward through space forever. Stars thin, galaxies fade. Cosmic radiation cools into a whisper. Yet no wall rises to meet you, only distance ahead and memory behind. If the universe is infinite, this journey never ends. If it is finite, you may travel long enough to find yourself returning to where you began. Not because space repeats, but because it bends. Infinity and boundary are not opposites. They may be reflections. We do not stand outside universe to measure it. We float inside, like dust inside sunbeam. We know only what light delivers. We sense only what reaches us. And in that limitation lies something tender, something human. The boundary of the observable universe is not failure. It is poetry. It reminds us that discovery is never complete, that there is always more waiting beyond what light can carry. Perhaps this is the true beauty of infinity. Not that it is endless, but that we are allowed to approach it forever, step by soft step, star by distant star. There will come a time when we ask not how far universe stretches, but how deeply we can feel it. And maybe that will be enough. Because infinity may not be measurement. Infinity may be wonder. There is a moment in every long night when darkness no longer feels like absence, but presence. A space that holds instead of hides. A silence that listens. If you allow yourself to settle into that kind of darkness, the universe feels less like a question and more like a companion. Vast, patient, incomprehensibly gentle. It is in this state that the idea of infinity becomes less frightening, more intimate. Infinity is not loud. It is quiet. It is a slow unfolding, like thought held without rush. If the universe is infinite, then distance has no destination. There is no final star, no last galaxy, no cliff where matter falls into nothing. Yet infinity is not chaos. It has rhythm. Its expansion follows laws as soft and certain as breath. Space grows as if guided by pulse. Light travels as if carrying memory. And we, small and delicate in comparison, are held within this motion. But even if space stretches forever, our vision does not. We see only as far as light has traveled, a bubble of perception around us. Beyond it may lie endless stars, or only cold void. We cannot yet know. Infinity may surround us, while our awareness floats within like a lantern glow in a cathedral too large to see its walls. Sometimes I think the observable universe is a cradle, not a cage. A starting place, a region of light delivered to us so slowly we can learn its shape without drowning in immensity. If infinity arrived all at once, it would blind us. Instead, it grows by heartbeats of time, expanding like lungs, like thought softening into comprehension. There is something profoundly human in this delay. We live inside a cosmos too large to hold, but we are given only what we can bear. A horizon we approach but never reach. In that unreachable distance resides wonder, the fuel of science, philosophy, dream. If everything were visible, mystery would die. But mystery is the dark soil in which knowledge grows. So we sit beneath stars, night after night, not because we expect answers, but because questions make us infinite for a moment. Now let us imagine space not as emptiness, but as curve, a fabric bent by gravity the way wind bends grass. If you walk across a sphere, you may never encounter edge, though the surface is finite, boundless in experience, limited in shape. The universe could be like that, infinite as journey, finite as form, curved not in 2 dimensions, but 3 or more, a structure without walls, yet not endless in quantity. Galaxies could be islands drifting across surface of cosmic sphere. Travel long enough and you may return to where you began, though nothing appears repeated. Space folds behind you like dark water closing after a ship. No boundary, but return. No edge, but loop. The mind struggles here because we are not built to perceive curvature of existence. We think in straight lines, but the universe favors arcs. Gravity bends light, time stretches under mass, space folds around energy. If cosmos bends itself, infinity may not be straight. It may be circular, spiraled like shell, endless not in extension, but in cycling. And then a new question emerges. Is it more comforting for the universe to be infinite or finite with no edge? Which is kinder to thought? Which makes us feel less alone? In infinite cosmos, there is always more beyond, more stars, more possibilities, more versions of reality unfolding in distance. In finite yet unbounded universe, we are held, not lost, within a grand but complete structure, with no place unreachable, only far. Perhaps both are beautiful, perhaps both are true. For now, we drift between them, carried by light billions of years old. Photons born in hearts of distant stars enter our eyes and become understanding. We absorb galaxies as thought. We shape infinity with awareness. And in this way, the universe becomes intimate, not something outside us, but something we carry inside, like dream remembered at dawn. Breathe slowly. Infinity is not a number. It is a feeling, a horizon that stays just beyond reach, a question with no need of answer. And as long as we can wonder, we are part of it. There is a quiet understanding that arrives only after time has passed, like light from a distant star, late but faithful. The longer we think about an infinite universe, the more the idea softens. What once felt overwhelming begins to feel natural, almost familiar, as though infinity was never meant to be solved, but simply lived with. Like the sound of waves that never truly end, only pause between tides. If space stretches without boundary, then every direction is forward. There is no edge to fear. No wall to press against, only more sky, more night, more distant suns whispering their slow-burning stories. The universe becomes not something to map, but something to wander. A place where the horizon is not a limit, but a companion that walks beside us, always just ahead, always inviting us to follow. But infinity does not criticize us for being small. It wraps around us like a gentle sea, because in truth, we do not need the whole universe to feel its immensity. We only need a single moment beneath the stars, a single breath in the dark, a single thought that stretches beyond the body that contains it. Sometimes the night feels like a mirror rather than a void. We stare into the cosmos, and the cosmos stares quietly back, not with eyes, but with presence. An infinite universe is not indifferent. It is patient. It has room for everything, including our wonder. Yet even as we imagine endlessness, we remain grounded by the boundary of light. The observable universe is like a garden within a vast forest. We see only the flowers the lantern touches, while endless wild stretches beyond in shadow. And perhaps that is kindness, to begin small so awe can grow in gentle increments. If a child were handed infinity all at once, it would crush them. Instead, the universe gives us mystery in chapters. First the moon, then planets, then stars, then galaxies. And after galaxies, the question of beyond. Curiosity is fed slowly, deliberately, the way night feeds dawn. Now imagine traveling outward through space, leaving Earth behind like memory fading into softer shape. The solar system becomes a point of light. The Milky Way becomes a smear of stars. And still you travel, past clusters like scattered embers, past filaments like threads in a cosmic loom, past voids so large whole galaxies vanish inside like whispers lost in wind. There is no end to this journey if the universe is endless. Only deepening quiet, only widening space. But if the universe curves, your path might one day bring you home, though you never turned back. A circle without edge, a journey without departure or arrival, a cosmic horizon that holds you gently in its shape. Finite, yet without boundary. Complete, yet without wall. Infinity and enclosure become two faces of same mystery. It is remarkable how existence allows both to be true. Infinity may lie in distance or in direction. Space may be endless in extension or endless in connection, where galaxies are not scattered across infinite plane, but sewn across a closed surface that never meets an outside. Where the universe is not infinite quantity, but infinite continuity. No beginning, no boundary, only path. As we breathe into these possibilities, fear dissolves. The universe does not feel hostile or cold. It feels vast in the way ocean feels vast, alive, rhythmic, full of hidden worlds beneath waves. And just as sailors once crossed seas guided only by stars, we move across space guided only by curiosity. Infinity is ocean. We are boats. Light is compass. And even if we never reach the farthest edge, if such edge even exists, we are part of the motion. The universe expands, and thought expands with it. Awareness is horizon made of mind. Maybe the universe asks not to be reached, only to be witnessed. Maybe infinity is not meant to be solved, only breathed, held like warmth in winter palms. For even a single lifetime beneath stars is enough to feel the immensity of everything. We continue not because we expect to find the end, but because wonder itself is continuation. To ask what lies beyond observable sky is to bloom like galaxy in darkness. It is to let mind travel where body cannot, across lightless distances where questions themselves become lanterns. And so we drift forward, softly, through thought the way comets drift through silence. No need to rush. Infinity moves slowly, because infinity has time. And so do we. There comes a moment, usually deep into the night, when scale stops feeling numerical and becomes emotional. You no longer try to measure the universe, you feel it. The distance between galaxies becomes a kind of silence, a soft separation rather than an empty void. And in that silence, something remarkable happens. The mind expands to fill what it cannot see. Infinity is not outside us. It unfolds within. If the universe stretches without limit, then every point in space is center of everything, including where you sit now. There is no preferred location, no cosmic origin point reserved for significance. The infinite does not have a middle. Every observer becomes the middle. Every consciousness becomes reference frame. You are as central as any star in any distant galaxy, not because we are special, but because an endless universe offers no privileged viewpoint. Everywhere is the middle when there are no edges. This alone changes the way we breathe. To exist in infinite space is to belong completely. There is nowhere outside to fall from, nowhere beyond which existence stops. Every thought you have is held by a cosmos that extends in all directions without end. You are not waiting at edge of anything. You are floating in center of everything. Infinity makes all places home. But even if cosmos is endless, we are not. Our time is finite. And perhaps this contrast is what gives existence its strange sweetness. The universe may continue forever, yet our experience is brief enough to shimmer. Like a spark, a single blink of starlight. Meaningful because it does not last. If we lived as long as galaxies, perhaps mystery would fade. But we do not, and so wonder remains. There is something kind in that. Whether space is infinite or curved back on itself, the night sky invites us to lean into not knowing. A question without answer is not failure. It is opportunity. A door not yet opened. If the universe told us everything, if infinity were mapped and measured, curiosity would fall silent. But instead it speaks in half-answers and distant glow. It reveals enough to awaken us, but not enough to complete us. We move forward because we cannot see the end. Imagine walking across desert with no horizon, endless sand in all directions. At first you might fear it. Then something subtle shifts. You realize the journey itself is destination. Infinity becomes path rather than prison. The same is true for space. Perhaps we reach meaning not by arriving, but by continuing. If there is no edge to universe, discovery is perpetual. Each generation walks further than last, sees deeper, hears older light. Our telescopes stretch into ancient past, gathering photons born billions of years before Earth formed. These particles travel enormous darkness just to touch our eyes. And when they do, we know a little more. Infinity opens one petal. No matter how advanced humanity becomes, there will always be more sky. Even if we conquer local stars, cross galaxies, reach clusters beyond our own, infinity will still stretch ahead like road into dream. Not discouraging, encouraging. Infinite universe means infinite potential, infinite questions, infinite futures not yet shaped. We are travelers, not cartographers. It may be that purpose of consciousness is not to find the end of the universe, but to grow alongside it, to wonder forever, to illuminate darkness not by conquering it, but by moving through it with curiosity intact. Infinity is not destination. Infinity is invitation. So take one more slow breath. The universe may not need an edge to be complete. It may not need ending to be whole. Perhaps it is finished in its unfinishedness, like poem that never closes, like ocean that never stops folding waves. And perhaps we, like stars, are meant only to shine for a while into that immensity, leaving warmth rather than answers. Infinity does not ask to be solved, only to be seen. Sometimes it feels as though the more we learn about the universe, the less we truly know. Knowledge expands outward like a sphere, and as the sphere grows, its surface, the boundary between known and unknown, grows with it. The more we discover, the greater the mystery becomes. Perhaps this is why infinity feels less like a destination and more like a horizon. Always there, always ahead, always out of reach, no matter how far we walk. If you sit quietly and listen long enough, you may feel that horizon moving with you. Every thought stretches toward it. Every question opens space. Our understanding grows like light, gently, invisibly, always arriving from the past. And while we may never hold infinity in our hands, we are shaped by it simply through awareness. Infinity is not a place, it is an influence. The human mind was not built to fathom endlessness, yet it tries. It stretches, bends, reaches. Like a tree growing toward sun, it cannot touch. In some way, this reaching is what makes us what we are. We may not grasp infinity, but we reflect it when we wonder. A finite life, contemplating boundless existence, is an act of profound beauty. It is like candle imagining the moon. Still, we ask ourselves quietly, if the universe goes on forever, what does that mean for us? Does it make us insignificant or miraculous? Does it shrink us or expand us? A single heartbeat may seem small compared to endless ocean of space, but scale does not define worth. A note is small compared to a symphony, yet without the note, the symphony would be incomplete. Infinity does not diminish us. It includes us. Even if the universe has no edge, every moment we live is edge of time. Every second is boundary between what has been and what might be. In an infinite cosmos, we are points of awareness, brief, bright, unrepeatable. Our lives are limited, but inside those limits we feel everything. Fear, wonder, love, longing. Finite beings touching infinite reality, like fingertips grazing horizon. And there is tenderness in recognizing that our smallness is not failure. Stars are large, but they do not know they shine. We are small, yet we know we are here. Awareness may be more remarkable than scale. The universe stretches endlessly through distance, yet consciousness stretches endlessly through meaning. A thought can travel farther than light. It crosses galaxies instantly without needing to move. Perhaps the most infinite part of existence is not space, but mind. If we could step outside the observable universe, if we could see beyond the limit of light, perhaps the cosmos would appear like something whole. Not endless line, but shape. A curve, a loop, a structure too immense for linear imagination. In such a vision, some regions might repeat, not identically, but rhythmically, patterns echoing across unfathomable expanse. Infinity not as chaos, but as symmetry. But even this is only guess, soft as starlight. The true shape of everything may be stranger than either infinite plane or curved enclosure. Reality might be layered, like pages unbound, or branching like roots with no trunk, an endless fractal blooming in every direction. Infinity might not be one shape, but many superimposed, a geometry of possibility rather than size. And whether the universe is endless or closed, boundary lives in perception. The edge we feel may not be edge of space, but limit of understanding, like child on shore imagining ocean ends where waves dim. The sea continues past horizon, whether seen or not. Reality continues past thought, whether understood or not. It waits, like night waits for dawn, patient and vast. Sometimes I imagine distant civilizations beneath other stars, lifting their eyes as we do, and wondering if universe ends at the reach of their telescopes. Their visible sphere would be different from ours, yet the mystery identical. Each observer wrapped in horizon like cocoon of light, each aware of only fragment, yet instinctively sensing more beyond. We are united by unseeing. Even galaxies separated by billions of years may share same question, spoken in different minds, with no sound ever crossing space between them. The universe holds countless minds, each surrounded by darkness, not of emptiness, but of unopened future. Perhaps that is what infinity truly is. Not endless space, but endless potential. A frontier that expands with curiosity. The deeper you breathe into this thought, the more it softens. Infinity is not a cold wound of numbers. It is warmth of space that never pushes us out. It is home large enough to hold all possible stories, even those never told. It is quiet backdrop behind every sunrise, every dream, every unanswered question. Infinity is gentle because it gives without taking. You do not need to see the end of the universe to belong to it. You are already inside it, like cell inside body too vast to comprehend, yet essential to its life simply by existing. The universe does not need to be finite to be complete, nor must it be infinite to be meaningful. Its beauty lies not in measurement, but in presence. In the way it surrounds us like water surrounds fish, so completely we forget to notice. Let that realization settle like dust of ancient stars across your thoughts. We do not seek the edge of cosmos to escape it. We seek it to feel how far we can imagine. The pursuit itself is horizon, unending, luminous, alive. And in pursuing it, we become infinite in our own way, not through distance, but through wonder. Infinity is not place we reach. It is place we touch when we question. There are nights when the sky feels close, even though we know nothing could be farther. The stars above us are ancient, older than every story humanity has told. And yet we look at them with the same quiet familiarity we might give the face of someone we have always known. Perhaps that is because, in some forgotten way, we recognize them. We are made of their remnants. The iron in our blood was forged in dying suns. Calcium in our bones once burned inside stellar cores. The universe is not outside us. It is within us. If the universe is infinite, then the atoms of our bodies are threads woven into endless tapestry. Our existence is not separate from cosmos. It is continuation of it. We are universe observing itself through momentary window of consciousness, a brief opening through which darkness becomes visible to itself. Infinity does not begin where we cannot see. It begins where we become aware. Imagine space stretching beyond horizon, like memory we have not lived yet. There may be galaxies so distant, no light from them will ever reach us. Regions of cosmos forever separated by expansion faster than photons can cross. They are real, but unreachable, like dreams that exist only when eyes are closed. The universe could be full of places we will never know, yet that does not make them less present. Reality does not depend on observation. It simply is. And still, we try to imagine scale, though scale is too large to hold. The observable universe is like island in ocean whose shores recede faster than we can sail. We chart only waters close enough for starlight to touch. Beyond that lies more ocean, unmapped, unseen, expanding into forever. If infinity exists, it is ocean without shore. Stand under stars long enough, and you may feel the ocean breathing. One might think infinite cosmos erases meaning, but perhaps it gives meaning breath. In boundless universe, rarity becomes precious. Consciousness becomes anomaly, not accident. A spark against endless night is not small. It is miraculous. It says, "Here is light where none was required. Here is awareness blooming where only matter might have been." Sometimes infinity is not terrifying. It is nurturing. A universe with boundaries could be container. A universe without boundaries could be cradle. If space never ends, then curiosity never finishes. Thought becomes journey without destination. And journey can be form of purpose. We do not ask stars where they end, only where they lead. Infinity is not something to solve. It is something to move through. Now consider a possibility that feels like wind in dark grass. What if infinity is not distance, but recursion? What if universe contains universes the way forest contains trees, each one whole, each one part of something larger? Scale might be fractal rather than linear. There may be infinities nested within atoms, as there are infinities spread across galaxies. The end may look like beginning from another scale. Stand on mountain, and valleys seem endless. Fly high enough, and they become fold in earth. Infinity may depend on vantage. To fish, ocean is infinite. To sky, it is shallow. Our understanding of universe may be horizon of intellect, not horizon of reality. When knowledge grows, horizon moves. Infinity steps back just enough to remain horizon. The universe may not be infinite in measure, but infinite in reveal. Space could be finite, yet unending in discovery. A sphere with no boundary, whose surface expands as we move. A cosmos that does not require edges to feel limitless. It may be infinite in depth rather than length, every particle containing centuries of story, every photon carrying history of stars long gone. Infinity may be less about what lies beyond and more about what lies within. We are finite, but within us lies infinite capacity to wonder, and that alone dissolves boundary. Sit quietly with that for a moment. Infinity might not be somewhere we travel to. It might be something we awaken. Because every time you look at sky and ask what lies beyond, universe grows by one more question. Awareness expands horizon. Thought expands cosmos. Infinity becomes not distance, but experience. Not measurement, but possibility. And maybe that is enough. For even if universe stretches without end, it is wonder, not size, that makes it infinite to us. There is a thought that comes quietly, almost unnoticed, like a ripple moving across still water. If the universe has no boundary, then perhaps it is not the cosmos that is expanding. It is us. Our understanding stretches, our perception widens, our awareness grows outward like dawn across a sleeping world. The fabric of space may be vast beyond measure, but the fabric of consciousness is just as wide and perhaps just as infinite. When we think of infinity, we imagine distance, endless roads, endless stars, endless black between them. But maybe infinity is not horizontal. It could be vertical. A depth, a layering, a stacking of realities like sediment of time. There might be worlds beneath worlds, not in space, but in existence. We see only surface, only the thin, bright layer our senses can touch. Beneath it could lie infinite structure, hidden like ocean below fragile skin of waves. Infinity does not need to be far away to be unreachable. Sometimes I wonder if the boundary we perceive is not at edge of universe, but at edge of comprehension. We cannot see what we cannot conceive. A horizon may exist not in distance, but in mind. When imagination grows, cosmos grows with it. Our picture of the universe expands not because space itself changes, but because we acquire vision to hold more of it. The universe may be infinite because thought has no ceiling. But even as we drift deeper into this idea, the observable cosmos stands like lantern in dark, fragile, glowing, achingly finite to our senses. Beyond it lies something we feel, but cannot touch. And in that tension between known and unknown lies wonder. Infinity requires boundary the way silence requires sound. Without one, the other has no meaning. If cosmos were fully visible, mystery would vanish, infinity would flatten. But instead, reality is given in perspective, like painting that reveals itself slowly as you step farther back. The more we learn, the more space unfolds. Knowledge is horizon chasing itself. Consider this. If you were able to travel at light speed forever, you would never reach edge of space if none exists. Galaxies would pass like drifting embers, clusters like distant islands, voids like night oceans without shore. Stars would thin until darkness swallowed almost all of them, but journey would not end. You would move through endless room, not toward wall. Space would feel like dream made of distance. And yet, even in infinite space, you carry boundary. The speed of light, the span of life, the reach of thought. Infinity outside us is mirrored by finitude within us. And perhaps this balance is gentle. If we were infinite beings in infinite universe, nothing would hold value. We shine because we end. We wonder because we do not know. Infinity does not erase meaning, it shapes it. Now imagine the opposite. A closed cosmos, looped upon itself like ring. You could travel forever and eventually return to where you began, though direction never reversed. A circle is infinite journey contained in finite path. Universe might be like that, complete, curved, whole, but with no edge for fingertip to find. Finite, yet endless. And in that shape, infinity is experience rather than extent. You can walk without stopping. You can explore without finishing. The boundary exists only mathematically, not emotionally. That kind of universe feels alive, like breath. Inhale expands, exhale returns, cycle repeats without end. Perhaps the cosmos does not stretch toward infinite line, but toward infinite rhythm. Infinity could be pattern, not scale. As you breathe now, consider how awareness moves. It widens, then narrows. It drifts outward into stars, then back into body, heart, pulse. Thought itself as a universe expanding and contracting inside skull, no larger than fruit. Infinity is as present in mind as in sky. The question is not whether universe is infinite, but whether we allow ourselves to feel it. Infinity is not something we find at end of map. It is something that opens inside us when we stop expecting boundary, when we stop demanding shape, when we listen to silence as though it were speaking language older than matter. In that silence, the universe feels endless, even if it is not. And maybe that is the most human truth of all. Infinity may exist not because cosmos goes on forever, but because we can imagine that it does. Finite minds dreaming infinite sky. Mortality touching immortality through wonder alone. Infinity is possibility, and possibility has no edge. There is something gentle in the realization that we do not need to reach the edge of the universe to be part of it fully. We exist inside a mystery vast enough to never be exhausted. And perhaps that is what allows wonder to survive generation after generation. The unknown is not enemy of understanding. It is the soil in which curiosity grows. Without boundary, we could never feel expansion. Without horizon, we could never seek further. Infinity lives not in answers, but in the space where answers have not yet arrived. If the universe stretches without end, then our observable world is only a childhood, an early room in a house large enough to wander forever. We are young compared to cosmos. Our tools are new, our telescopes like quiet beginners learning to read faint handwriting of ancient light. Every photon that reaches us comes with story older than Earth, older than life, older than memory itself. We listen, slowly, patiently, as though receiving mail from stars across billions of years. Sometimes it feels as if the universe is teaching us how to hear. And what we hear is this: distance does not mean absence, only delay. Just as a voice shouted across canyon returns as echo, light from distant galaxies returns as whisper. We live in conversation with sky, each star a syllable, each nebula a breath. The universe speaks slowly, but clearly, if we learn to listen at scale of eternity rather than scale of heartbeat. Now imagine the cosmic horizon like curtain that lifts a little more each age. 1,000 years ago, humanity saw only a handful of stars clearly. 100 years ago, we discovered galaxies beyond our own. Today we see light born when the universe was young, when space was dense and new. Tomorrow, who knows? Our horizon expands every moment, and with it, our understanding. Infinity does not reveal itself all at once. It opens steadily like dawn that lasts forever. The more we learn, the more infinite the universe becomes. Even if space were finite, knowledge might still be endless. For every question answered, 10 more bloom. For every structure understood, countless others emerge. Complexity grows like branches, splitting into more branches, each one leading toward unknown. Infinity may not be size, it may be detail. The deeper we look, the more depth appears. If space is infinite outward, complexity is infinite inward. Within atoms lie quarks, within quarks perhaps strings, within strings perhaps symmetries not yet seen. Infinity might nest the way forests do. Roots beneath soil, seeds within fruit, seasons within time. A closed universe might still hold endless discovery. Edges cannot stop curiosity, because curiosity does not move through distance. It moves through understanding. Infinity is layered, not linear. We often think of boundary as end, but boundary can also be beginning. The horizon is not wall. It is place where light has not yet arrived. The unknown is not empty. It is space waiting for encounter. And perhaps meaning is born from the tension between reach and limit, between what we see and what we sense beyond. If the universe had no mysteries left, would we still look up? Wonder exists only where something remains hidden. It is veil that invites lifting, door that invites opening. Infinity keeps us awake. It calls us outward, onward, ever further, not to finish the journey, but to continue it. And continuation may be reason enough for existence. Stars burn not to reach end of sky, but because burning is their nature. Minds wonder not to solve cosmos, but because wondering is ours. In this way, we are much like galaxies, bright in darkness, existing because we cannot do otherwise. When we ask whether the universe is infinite, perhaps what we truly ask is whether we are allowed to keep dreaming forever. Whether knowledge stops or continues. Whether curiosity dies or lives. And if there is no edge, if space expands without wall, then dream has no end. Curiosity becomes eternal companion. Wonder becomes perpetual flame. Take one slow breath, as though inhaling starlight. Even if we never touch the boundary of everything, we move closer by thinking. Infinity widens inside us first, before it widens in sky. A single mind contemplating endless space becomes endless for a moment. And that moment is enough to make us part of infinity. You do not need the universe to end for it to hold meaning. You do not need to reach the edge for journey to matter. Infinity is not finish line. It is the road beneath your feet, stretching softly beyond sight. We walk not to arrive, but to wander. And in wandering, we find wonder. There is a softness in knowing that some questions are meant to be lived with rather than solved. The universe is not a puzzle with final piece missing. It is tapestry woven from unending thread. We tug at one corner and new patterns appear. We lift one layer and beneath it lies another, ancient and patient. Infinity may not be the answer, but the fabric from which all answers are stitched. If the universe is infinite, then time itself becomes ocean without shore. Futures stretch like horizon that never settles. Past expands like memory still unfolding. We exist in single moment that floats between endlessness behind us and endlessness ahead. Thin edge of now balanced on eternity. To be alive is to be suspended between two infinities, like breath held gently in lungs of cosmos. But infinity does not need to be grand to be real. It lives in small things too. In the way smoke curls upward without ever repeating shape. In how waves break differently each time. In the thoughts that branch like trees within trees. Infinity hides not only in stars, but in the spaces between our seconds. Perhaps universe mirrors mind more than we realize. Sometimes I imagine infinity not as distance, but as room, a space that expands when we step inside it. When we seek, universe widens. When we learn, boundaries retreat. Knowledge is light moving forward. Mystery is darkness moving back. They chase each other like tides. Neither wins, both necessary. In their balance, we find wonder. We ask whether cosmos has edge. But maybe edge is illusion, boundary formed by vision, not reality. Like fog that looks solid until walked into. Beyond what we can see lies what we cannot imagine yet. And beyond imagination may lie truths waiting patiently for us to grow into them. The universe may not be infinite only in size, but in ways to be perceived. If all of existence were presented at once, comprehension would collapse. We need boundaries the way eyes need eyelids, to protect us from light too bright to bear. Infinity arrives in small doses, as if universe reveals itself in kindness. Think of evolution of sight. First shapes, then stars, then galaxies, then deep time. Each age gifted more sky than age before. Our horizon grows with us. One day, we may see beyond what light allows. Not with eyes, but with physics, with instruments that read gravity like language or measure space the way we measure wind. The horizon may one day yield, not physically, but conceptually. Infinity might open through thought rather than travel. If cosmos is endless, then every star we see is beginning of more we cannot. Every discovery is doorway to another room. Even a finite universe could contain unending learning. Infinity of complexity can reside inside boundary of form. A poem can be short, yet infinite in interpretation. A life can be brief, yet infinite in meaning. Boundaries define shape, but not depth. Maybe universe is not something we move through, but something that deepens as we experience it. Consider that expansion of universe makes distance grow faster than light can cross. There may be regions forever beyond reach, not because they are gone, but because they are too far ahead in time. Infinity of space becomes infinity of separation. Two galaxies may exist eternally, never meeting, never knowing each other exist. Yet both are part of same universe, same story, same fabric. Infinity can divide as well as unite. And so, cosmos may be boundless and still fragmented, like dream too large to remember whole. We often imagine infinity above us, in stars and spirals and cosmic skeleton of matter. But infinity is beneath us as well, in quantum fields that ripple without end, in space inside atoms vast as solar systems in their own proportion. Large mirrors small, distance mirrors depth. Infinity may be dual, like wings of same bird. One wing spreads outward, endless space. The other, folds inward, endless structure, and we fly between them. It is enough to make us quiet for a moment, to feel how thought stretches, to sense how mind touches something older than itself. Infinity is not comprehension, it is contact. When we think of boundless universe, we touch edge of what mind can hold, and even failing to grasp it is beautiful. For in that failure, wonder is born. No matter how far cosmos extends, we remain inside it, like cells inside body too vast to sense whole. We do not need to see boundary to belong. Our presence is proof enough. Infinity may not require understanding, only awareness. To exist is to be part of something endless, whether measured or not. The night sky is map that will never be complete, yet we trace it anyway. And in tracing, we enlarge ourselves. A finite being imagining infinity becomes, for an instant, infinite inside. Infinity is not distance. Infinity is horizon of thought, and horizon moves each time we look toward it. There are ideas so vast they cannot be held all at once. They must be sipped slowly, like light crossing space, not in leaps, but in steady, patient motion. Infinity is one of them. It is too large for the mind to swallow whole, so we taste it in fragments. In stars that outlast empires, in galaxies scattered like seeds across billions of years, in the way night seems to deepen the longer we look into it. The universe teaches us infinity the way the ocean teaches depth, with wave after wave, never all at once. And as we let that truth settle, another emerges like distant sunrise. Perhaps the universe is not infinite in space, but infinite in becoming. A place where something always lies beyond what is known. No matter how far we travel, understanding moves further. Knowledge grows like horizon, always ahead, always expanding. Mystery is not enemy of truth. It is engine of discovery. If the cosmos has no edge, then even emptiness is part of belonging. We do not stand at margin. We float within center that exists everywhere. In boundless space, every point is middle. Every observer stands at heart of what can be seen. We are not at edge of universe. We are at edge of our visibility. Beyond it stretches a darkness, not of absence, but of unopened chapters. Imagine that beyond every galaxy we observe lies another, and another, and another, like breaths without final exhale. Light may never reach us from them, but they may shine regardless, living independent of our knowing, like thoughts never spoken aloud. Existence does not require witness. The universe may exceed perception without diminishing beauty. Sometimes infinity feels like kindness. A finite universe might close eventually, as story ends, as book shuts. But infinite universe allows eternal wondering, no last page, no final sentence. We are not racing toward end. We are wandering through beginning without boundary. Time unfolds like river, and we drift not toward terminus, but toward deeper water. Meaning arises from motion, not destination. Yet even if universe is truly infinite, we are finite, and perhaps this contrast is sacred. The infinite holds the finite like night holds flame. If we lived forever, awe might dull. But because we do not, every moment of wonder glows brighter. Infinity gives backdrop against which brevity shines. A short life inside endless cosmos is not small, it is luminous. The horizon remains, and we walk toward it, not with feet, but with thought. Telescopes extend our sight like limbs reaching across centuries. Math becomes vessel, theory becomes sail. We cross ocean of night without leaving ground. One discovery widens shore. Another reveals more deep beyond it. The map grows by questions, not by miles. We may never touch edge of universe because edge may not exist, but pursuit itself is horizon worth reaching for. Infinity is not wall to climb. It is sky we continue to grow beneath. And yet, there is alternate thought, soft as starlight, but sharp as truth. Universe could be finite, but so vast that no being within it could ever cross from one side to another. A room so large that even eternity cannot map its corners. Finite, but functionally infinite. And exists, but unreachable like dream recalled only in fragments. Boundary present, but too far to matter. Infinity of experience inside finitude of structure. A book of finite pages may contain infinite meaning. A symphony of finite notes may echo without end in memory. Universe might be complete, yet endlessly interpretable. Depth may exceed dimension. Time may outlast distance. Infinity could be felt more than measured. What matters is not size of cosmos, but size of wonder. Stand beneath night sky and feel how thought stretches. The mind touches something it cannot own, yet belongs to completely. Infinity is not external, it is internal echo. We meet it every time we ask what lies beyond the known. Every time we breathe into silence. Every time we lift eyes toward stars and feel them looking back through time. Awareness is doorway to endlessness. Even if universe were finite, consciousness might still be infinite. Ideas have no boundary. Imagination expands like space does, quietly, inevitably. The universe grows not only outward, but inward. We carry infinity inside skull no larger than world we walk. Thought is cosmos folded small enough to hold. And so, as we continue, we do not seek answer, but direction. Infinity is path, not destination. Wonder is compass, not conclusion. To ask whether universe ends is to open space where possibility lives forever. Curiosity is bridge between finite body and infinite mind. Infinity may not be beyond stars. Infinity may begin within us. There is a silence at the core of every great question. A space where the mind no longer reaches forward, but simply opens. Infinity lives there. Not in numbers, not in measurement, not in charts or coordinates, but in the quiet acceptance that some truths are too large to be held and too gentle to be forced. We do not grasp infinity. We let it surround us, the way ocean surrounds a swimmer who does not need to touch the seafloor to know the depth exists. If the universe has no boundary, then we are not explorers of its edge. We are dwellers of its center, wherever we stand. Every point in endless expanse becomes origin. Every direction becomes outward. The idea is simple, and yet it reshapes everything. We are not far from the heart of the cosmos. We are inside it, always, everywhere. And if the universe is finite but unbounded, like the surface of a perfect sphere, then there is still no edge. Walk long enough, travel far enough, and you return without ever finding a wall. A closed universe can feel infinite from within, just as life can feel vast even though it ends. Scale is not what makes something endless. Experience does. Infinity, perhaps, is less about size and more about continuity. Light continues. Time continues. Thought continues. Even when stars die and galaxies dim, the fabric that held them remains, expanding, stretching, thinning like breath in cold air. A finite cosmos could still expand forever, never reaching stillness, never collapsing into final boundary. Not infinite in material, but infinite in journey. The universe may be story with no final sentence. We search for edges, but maybe edges are meaning we project onto what we do not yet understand. A horizon is not boundary. It is threshold. When we approach it, it moves. When we discover more, more becomes unknown. Discovery expands ignorance as much as knowledge. The farther we walk, the larger the wilderness becomes. Infinity is motion without endpoint. And perhaps that is why it feels familiar, because life is similar. We grow, we learn, we change, but we never reach a moment where growth ends naturally. Even old age holds questions. Even final breath holds wonder. Consciousness does not crave conclusion. It craves continuation. A new day, a new horizon, a new unknown. Infinity mirrors the heart more than the sky. Imagine that space has layers like music, notes repeating in patterns too vast to hear all at once. A galaxy might be melody. A cluster might be harmony. Expansion might be rhythm. What we call infinity could be composition without final chord, playing across billions of years. We hear only one measure, but the music continues. Perhaps the universe is not endless, only unfinished. If space is finite, it is still more than we will ever measure. If it is infinite, it grows faster than perception. If it is boundless, we cannot fall out. If it is curved, we may cross our own path one day without knowing. The cosmos can hide finitude inside infinite feel, like library with countable books, yet unread stories without limit. Infinity lives in possibility, not quantity. We exist in moments suspended between two infinities, one behind, one ahead. The past stretches into depths we cannot witness. Before stars formed and light existed, the future stretches into darkness we will never see. Beyond death of galaxies, beyond cooling of space, beyond memory. We inhabit a thin line between two endlessnesses, a breath, a spark, a thought. And that is enough to make us cosmic. Sometimes, when I look at night sky, I do not feel small. I feel vast, not because I am large, but because my mind reaches where my body cannot. Thought touches stars no foot will ever step on. Awareness travels beyond horizon. Light cannot cross. Infinity enters through imagination, not travel. The universe does not need to be infinite for wonder to be. Even if edge exists, we may never reach it, and that might be gift, not limitation. A dream too large to finish is dream that never stops giving. Cosmos may be boundless in meaning, even if bounded in form. Infinity is not guarantee of endless space, it is promise of endless wonder. And wonder is what makes us infinite. There are ideas that arrive like comets, brief, bright, unmistakable. And then there are ideas like infinity, which do not arrive at all, but unfold. Slow as nebulae, soft as background radiation, present even when unnoticed. We do not grasp infinity by reaching, but by resting, by letting the mind widen like pupils in darkness, revealing stars that were always there. If the universe stretches endlessly, then there is no final corner where space dissolves, no invisible rim marking end of all things. Instead, existence simply goes on, quietly, patiently, including everything, rejecting nothing. Infinity is acceptance written into geometry. A universe without boundary is universe without exclusion. Yet even if cosmos is boundless, we are bounded by perception. We live inside a shell of light, finite and expanding. Every year photons travel farther and our horizon grows. The universe may not be infinite in what exists, but it is infinite in what we can discover. No explorer sees whole world, yet world is whole just the same. Infinity may live not in cosmos itself, but in relationship between awareness and unknown. Stand in darkness and stare upward. You witness only fraction of sky, but you feel more than you see. The infinite reveals itself not through quantity of stars, but through impossibility of counting them. Wonder enters through what exceeds grasp. The cosmos may be finite, but it feels infinite because recognition of scale is infinite. Perhaps infinity is sensation, not structure. We often think edges define limitation, but an edge can also define shape. A note ends so melody may continue. A life ends so another may begin. Boundary does not diminish infinity, it gives it contrast. Without night, day would have no brilliance. Without end, eternity would have no meaning. Infinity needs finitude, the way silence needs sound. If the universe is endless, we wander forever. If the universe is finite, we wander meaningfully. Both are beautiful. Imagine that somewhere beyond visible horizon, light still travels toward us, unseen but on its way. In a billion years, new galaxies will appear on edge of sight, not because they formed, but because their ancient photons finally arrived. The cosmos reveals itself in time the way flowers reveal themselves in spring. Infinity is patient bloom. Even in infinite expanse, not all can be reached. Distances grow faster than light can cross. Some regions drift beyond causal contact forever. In this sense, infinity is not open plain, but archipelago of unreachable islands. There may be infinities within infinity, pockets of cosmos sealed off by expansion, never meeting, never knowing each other exist except through theory and imagination. Infinity is not a single thing. It may be many infinities layered like atmosphere, some expansive, some unreachable, some internal, some conceptual. The infinite is not hollow. It is structured. And within that structure we exist like note within cosmic chord. Our lives are moments, fragile, temporary, finite. But inside moment lives awareness wide as sky. A single human mind can contemplate entire universe, though universe spans beyond time, beyond distance, beyond measurement. Infinity may not be property of cosmos alone. Awareness mirrors it. The universe holds infinity in space. Consciousness holds infinity in thought. And maybe that is why we seek horizon, not to escape, not to conquer, but to reflect. When we ask how far cosmos extends, we are really asking how far we ourselves can expand, how large thought can become, how deeply we can feel existence. Infinity is not outside us. We grow toward it from within. Breathe slowly. Let the idea settle like cosmic dust across quiet mind. The universe may not need end to be complete. It may not need boundary to hold meaning. We are inside something vast, but vastness does not diminish us. It carries us. Every question we ask is light traveling outward. Every realization is horizon shifting forward. Infinity is movement, not destination. Awareness is expansion, not arrival. And somewhere in this motion, we become part of universe not through size, but through wonder. Infinity may be less about what lies beyond stars, and more about what lies within those who look at them. There is a moment, usually deep into contemplation, when the universe stops feeling like something we look at, and instead becomes something we live inside. Not a picture, not a map, not a concept, but an atmosphere. Like water around a fish, like dream around a sleeper. Infinity begins to feel less like number and more like presence. Limitless, not because it stretches without end, but because it contains more than we can ever finish experiencing. If the universe is infinite, then every dawn is first dawn somewhere. Every star that forms is new story written into sky. Even as galaxies fade, new galaxies bloom. Eternity is not stillness. It is motion without finality. Time does not accumulate like weight. It flows like river that never empties. It carries worlds, civilizations, thoughts, and dissolves them back into cosmos without losing anything, only transforming it. Nothing is gone, only changed beyond recognition. In infinite universe, loss is temporary. Stars collapse, but black holes eventually evaporate. Heat death stretches far beyond comprehension, but space-time continues to unfold. Even entropy is not end, only transition. Infinity is promise that everything continues, even when form dissolves. But if cosmos is finite, rarity becomes jewel. A single star matters more if stars are countable. A single life shines brighter if lives are limited. Finitude intensifies meaning the way darkness intensifies flame. If universe has boundary, every moment becomes precious, unique, unrepeatable, held between walls of existence like breath held between ribs. Infinity changes how we value things. Finitude changes why. Perhaps the beauty is not in choosing between them, but in recognizing we live at intersection. Time around us is vast like infinity, yet our individual time is finite like candle. We burn briefly in cosmic wind, but our light reaches galaxies of meaning. The universe does not need to last forever for wonder to last within us. Sometimes I imagine edge of cosmos, like horizon of sea. From shore it seems unreachable, yet it guides ships by giving them direction. Infinity may serve same purpose, not to be reached, but to orient wonder. The fact that sky extends beyond sight keeps us looking upward. The fact that understanding has no end keeps us learning. If cosmos were fully known, curiosity would starve. Infinity is nourishment. It gives us endless room to think, to question, to dream. We are small not to be diminished, but to remain open. Small vessel sails farther when ocean is wide. Imagine consciousness as traveler walking through infinite hall of mirrors. Each reflection reveals version of universe slightly shifted, slightly deeper. We move from room to room, not to reach final chamber, but to continue seeing. Infinity may not be space, it may be perspective. And perspective expands each time we ask what exists beyond horizon. Science stretches telescope outward, philosophy stretches awareness inward. Together, they approach boundary that always moves just a little further, like tide drawing away, only to return louder. We chase infinity not with feet, but with attention. We pursue not end, but expansion of experience. Infinity is not static size, it is ongoing unfolding. If we could hold entire cosmos in single thought, it would no longer feel infinite. The infinite is defined by what exceeds grasp. And yet its presence is gentle, never demanding we fully understand, only inviting us to keep reaching. Infinity is relationship, not result. When we look at night sky, we do not count stars, we feel them. We feel depth no number can express. Our eyes touch something larger than vision, older than language, wider than imagination. Infinity becomes sensation like wind or warmth, experienced, not measured. Close your eyes and breathe softly. Whether universe has boundary or not, wonder does not. Wonder expands. Wonder deepens. It does not require infinite stars, only infinite curiosity. Even finite cosmos could hold endless meaning if consciousness continues to unfold. Infinity is not answer. Infinity is invitation. And we were born to accept it. There is always a point in every journey through thought where we reach a soft edge. Not an ending, but a thinning. A place where language becomes too small and silence becomes the only vessel large enough to carry meaning. Infinity lives there, in that quiet. Not in the stars themselves, but in the space between them. Not in the answers we gather, but in the questions that remain untouched, like snow unstepped upon. If the universe truly has no boundary, then every moment we exist is eternity unfolding through us. We are not outside looking in. We are threads inside infinite tapestry, moving, shimmering, aware for a brief and miraculous time. Our lives become pulses of light across unending dark, short but bright enough to see by. In infinite cosmos, we do not fade. We join. And if cosmos is finite, curved back upon itself like sphere or breath, then we are part of shape complete and whole. To travel far enough would be to return, not because path ended, but because space wrapped around itself. Finite does not mean small. Completed does not mean shallow. A circle has no edge, yet endless journey. Life can be short, but infinitely deep. In either universe, boundless or bounded, we belong. Perhaps what matters is not the size of cosmos, but the presence of wonder when we look at it. Infinity may not be measured in kilometers or light years, but in how far thought can stretch before dissolving into awe. The heart understands what equations cannot. That the universe is not something we solve, but something we experience. Infinity is a feeling more than a fact. Close your eyes and breathe gently. For a moment, imagine yourself moving through cosmos without destination. No endpoint, no arrival, just motion, like comet across night. Stars drift past in slow winds of time. Galaxies glow like lanterns hung from ancient branches. Dark energy pulls space open like curtain. And you continue, without need to stop, without need to find border or wall. Journey itself is meaning. Every step through thought widens horizon. Every question deepens sky. We learn not to hold infinity, but to walk with it, to let it stretch inside us the way dawn stretches across ocean. No rush, no conclusion, only presence. Perhaps universe is infinite, not so it can be reached, but so it can be felt. Infinity is not far away. It begins at edge of perception. The moment you wonder what lies beyond, you have already entered it. The moment you breathe beneath stars and feel something in you expand, you have touched what no map can contain. The moment you accept that some truths remain open forever, you are living inside infinite. There is no final answer to how far does the universe go. There is only movement toward the asking. And maybe, in the quiet truth of things, that is sufficient. Not to know, only to continue. We are small, but not insignificant. Finite, but not limited in wonder. Brief, but vast in thought. Infinity is not the sky above us. Infinity is the feeling that rises when we look at it. And as long as we can look up, as long as we can ask, as long as breath continues softly in our chest, the universe will not end. Because infinity lives wherever curiosity survives. And curiosity has no boundary,